Hello, kings and queens. Adrienne Fly Free here. Thank you so much for tuning in with me this week. I have a special guest today. Elena is going to join us, and we're going to be talking about postpartum depression. So stay tuned. Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. I do have my special guest with me today. Her name is Elena. She is my daughter, and I am so grateful to have you on my show today. And thank you so much for joining me so that we can talk about postpartum depression. So postpartum depression, we are dealing with mental health, and we wanted to talk about postpartum depression between women. What happens after delivery? So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your little one?
So I have a son. He is one, or as you know, some others would say he's 13 months right now. His name is Anthony. He was born December 11th, 2018. So I have a 2018 baby.
Oh.
Winter baby.
Winter baby. Okay, wonderful. So tell us about your delivery. How was the delivery?
Honestly, and I'm just speaking for myself, I would say it was the delivery part for me was easy as far as pain. They kept sending me home every time I thought like I was dilated enough, but because I wanted to have a natural birth, they're like, okay, just go home because we're not going to give you any drugs to induce you. Mm-hmm. So it just seemed like a long process to me, and I don't know. I would definitely do it all over again if I ever was to have another kid.
Okay. So, did you do it naturally or did you have medication?
Yes, so I did it naturally. I didn't have any medication at all. When I got to the hospital, I was 7 centimeters dilated, so It wasn't a lot to do after that. But yeah, I definitely did it completely naturally. I don't regret it at all.
Okay. So, how did you feel after you delivered your son? Tell us about your feeling right after delivery and maybe a couple of days after delivery, a week after delivery. Tell us about how you felt from the beginning, and then tell us about just some emotions that you may have been feeling after you had your son.
Well, I was definitely exhausted. I was ready. I was happy it was over. I was happy he was finally out. I could finally touch and feel the person that was growing inside of me. So I was happy about that. But it was very exhausting, very tiring, especially because I was nursing. So I was always anxious on, was I feeding him enough? I was always Googling how much should he eat, how much should he sleep, because nursing is very on their demand thing. I can't make him eat every hour. I can't make him eat every 2 hours. I can't determine how long he's going to eat every time he does. So it was very a nerve-wracking thing because you don't know. So that was very, my anxiety was very high from that, just trying to make sure I was doing everything possible to take care of him.
So you did experience anxiety?
Yes.
Okay, so and I haven't had that experience where I breastfed you all. I was not able to breastfeed, or in this generation we're learning that it's not that you weren't able to breastfeed, you just wasn't really supported very well when you tried to breastfeed. So usually the doctors will tell me after the baby may have not latched on, or you didn't after a week tend to take the milk, so they told me just to feed you a bottle, and so on with the other children as well. So the anxiety part is something that mothers out there may not have experienced, but they may, when they have their children experience something like that, and at least they know that that's something normal that they can experience with having a child when you're trying to nurse. So why don't you tell us a little bit about when you started to notice something wasn't quite right with your emotions and how you were feeling?
I cried a lot. I would be perfectly fine with him and put him to sleep, or his dad would get him, and then I take a shower or I do something and I just be crying, and it's just you have the feeling of I should be happy and I should be okay, but for some reason I'm not okay.
Wow, so you experience crying a lot. And with different emotions, parents, you're going to go through different things. So whether you're a new mom or whether you're a mom and you've already had 1 or 2 children, I've mentioned before when I experienced postpartum depression, I didn't experience any type of emotional setback until I had my fifth child. I didn't know postpartum depression came in different ways with different women. So that's something that a lot of times new mothers or even mothers like me that have multiple children, you're not aware of. So that's something that you may not understand when you first have a baby, but just hearing that from you, at least it lets us know and it lets our viewers know that having postpartum depression is not something that just starts one day and you feel like you have postpartum depression, right? So you have different emotions.
Notice it. It's different things that's going on with you that you notice that something is not all the way together, all the way right.
Right.
Say with you.
So it's more like a buildup of emotions, and you kind of
just realizing you're not yourself.
Absolutely. And so, how did you feel mentally and physically throughout the process?
Physically, I was very drained. You know, being a mom, period, is a lot of work as far as getting up and making sure you tend to them pretty much 24/7. Yeah. But then nursing on top of that, and I couldn't really get how to pump right, so I didn't start pumping until he was probably 2 months. So that whole first month, I was just only nursing, and it was just really exhausting because your child needs you 24/7, but when there's no break from that 24/7, it's like, am I doing something wrong? It's not enough. So it was just a bit of a hurdle to get through, just dealing with my own emotions and getting myself like my own time as well.
Absolutely. How did you feel towards other people? So like with me being your mom, and also your son's father, did you feel like you had the support that you needed with having your baby? Because a lot of times, and it's something I express, even though I had my husband there with our son, he worked a lot.
You always feel like you can have more support.
Yeah.
You always feel like you can have more support. You always feel like people can be more understanding.
Yes.
I know it's times where I felt like, okay, if someone calls me, they need to be understanding that, I could be asleep or the baby could be asleep or something like that. So just understanding is a separate entity than support.
Yeah.
So people could, you could see that you have support, but understanding what you're going through or understanding you need help in this form is kind of different than support. So I didn't feel like I had that majority of the time, because then also it's like, I had this child, I know this is my responsibility, father or not, he is my responsibility. It's a child I chose to have, so ultimately it's my responsibility to take care of him.
Right. And so just like she said, just something that you're going to experience sometimes if you do go through postpartum depression is not feeling that people understand you. And that's something that I express, and I'll give it the description in the description box that's going to link you to the postpartum depression segment 1. I did not feel like I had people that understood what I was going through. And I didn't really want to talk about what I was going through because I felt that, I was wrong, and I felt guilty about how I was feeling. And so that brings me into the next question is, did you feel guilty about any of your emotions, or whether it was inward emotions or outward emotions for your outward look towards other people and their support? How did you feel about that?
I didn't want to be sad. And I feel like I didn't want my son to pick up on it. So that was the only thing for me. I didn't want to be sad around my son and that somehow, translating his energy, because he was always laughing and smiling and happy. I didn't want it to be like, now he's down or his character has changed suddenly, even at that young age. So I wanted to just be, the best I could for him.
Right. And babies can pick up on mother's emotions. They can pick up on if you're feeling down or if you're feeling sad, because that baby ultimately has been in your body for 9 months potentially. That baby is connected to you through the umbilical cord. So everything that you felt, even when the baby was in the womb, that baby is so connected to a mother's emotions that a baby can. I do remember telling you, the baby can pick up on your emotions. They can pick up on if you're sad, if you're angry. And I know that I tried to be there a lot for you. I know that I started seeing signs myself as a mom because I've been through it myself. And I knew that, she wasn't being the same person, and I knew that she was drained, and I saw it in her eyes. I could see it in her skin complexion. I knew when she wasn't having enough rest, because listen, mothers, those that are new mothers and those that have not had babies yet, you're going to be so overwhelmingly tired. You're going to be exhausted, and you need someone that can be able to understand you, but also understand that you need your rest. And a lot of times, what I tried to do was, and she spent a lot of time over at my house when her son's father had to work. And I tried to help as much as I could, but I knew that ultimately that something was going on, and I knew that mentally she was so drained that she was tending to show signs. She was showing signs of postpartum depression. And so I remember having a talk with your son's father and letting him know, hey, be careful with this, kind of watch out for her on this, because I know that he also had no clue, no information on what postpartum depression looked like. And so I wanted to be a support even to him, because even with new dads, sometimes you just don't know what the mother is going through, and sometimes we may get angry. And it's not because we just want to be angry. It's just the natural emotion that comes out when you feel like no one is understanding, or you can't express exactly how you feel without feeling guilty about expressing how you feel. So if you could give any advice, before I ask you about that, what did you do? What did you wind up ultimately doing to get help? How did you get better?
I came over here a lot. I spent a lot of time around family. I tried to, listen to music, play with my son more. Even starting watching like new TV shows, but just not being at home alone when his dad was at work, that really helped, because you get lonely and you get in your own thoughts a lot.
Yeah. So
just throwing myself around family, that pretty much is what helps me, and playing with my son more.
That's good. That's good. So help looks different to different women, and whatever you can do to get help, as long as it's something that's keeping you away from being closed in. And I spoke before about how we suffer in silence. And so when we suffer in silence, we want to be by ourselves. We want to be alone. We don't feel like getting up. We don't even want to go anywhere and do the normal things that we usually love to do. And so I remember at a certain point, we was able to go out to dinner, you and I. We would have lunch dates with the baby. And so just anything to break the norm of feeling like you have to be closed in, and just getting out sometimes, no matter where you're going, someone's house, is just fine. It's helping you to have a little bit of freedom. Even though you're still connecting with your baby, you have someone else also to help you out as well. Mm-hmm. And to kind of still tend to you, because, you just had this baby, but also you still need someone to tend to you, because you're still tired and your body has not healed, and it takes a long time to heal. So what advice would you give the viewers if they are a parent that is pregnant and they're going to have a baby, or if they just had a baby and they may not know the signs? What's some advice you would give them?
I would say don't ignore your feelings. Your feelings are valid no matter what they are. My mom had a lot to tell me about that, because you could think your feelings aren't valid, or someone else could make you feel like your feelings aren't valid, or they're minute. Whatever they are, your feelings could be very valid to you, and that's what's important. So just recognize how you feel, and depression could be different across everybody. You're not always going to, hate your child or something like that. You could just feel down, and it's okay to be down and be able to recognize, this could possibly be depression and not just a bad day.
Absolutely.
So just recognizing how you feel is valid.
Absolutely. So I thank you so much for joining me, talking with us about postpartum depression and how you went through it, and also some things you did to help you. And so with mental health awareness, I just want everyone out there to know that you have to understand that your body is going to go through some things as a new mother, but you can get help. Make sure that you understand that being by yourself and suffering in silence is something that you don't have to do. So thank you so much for joining me. If you liked our video today, please don't forget to give it the thumbs up. I will leave some information also for you in the description box below, where you can get help. You can call numbers, where there's numbers out there that women can call for help with postpartum depression. And also, I want you to know that it's never okay to harm yourself. If you're feeling any type of feelings or emotions of harming yourself, always seek medical attention, always seek help. So thank you again for joining us today. I hope that you are having a wonderful day today. Also, remember to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. And don't forget to hit that bell. Again, I am Adrienne Fly Free. Thank you so much, kings and queens, for joining me today. Until next time, I will see you later.